Welcome to our Sunday service this morning at Unity Church of Sun Lakes. I'm Reverend Jeanne McLaughlin, and today we are going to be talking about magic. Unity Church of Sun Lakes is a community of love and light, teaching and supporting one another to transform lives by living the truths taught by Jesus Christ and other spiritual masters. So we will begin today with our daily word. My thoughts, words, and actions affirm divine life. Today's daily word is healing. Today I give thanks for the constant activity of divine healing life, especially when my body is experiencing illness. To bolster my awareness of my capacity for healing, I place my attention on my inherent wholeness. I affirm life in my thoughts, my words, and my actions as I care for my body and meet its needs. My faith assures me that illness is not the truth of me, nor is it my enduring reality. Through my actions, I am affirming wholeness as my true nature and encouraging my healing. Even when I am not facing illness, I greet each day by blessing my body, affirming my wholeness and the ongoing activity of divine life in every organ, every cell. I give thanks for the gift of divine life by giving thanks for my healing and living joyously. He said to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace." Luke chapter 8, verse 48. Let's pray. Focus on relaxing into your body. Letting go of anything that's on your mind. Being here in the present moment now. There is only one power and one presence in the universe, God the good. And there's only one power and one presence in my life, God the good. And we feel this presence in every part of our body. What does that feel like? Wholeness, oneness. So it is in this place that we take some time to visualize and affirm results that we would like to see in our lives. If we have things that are weighing heavy on our mind, this is the space in our prayer where we visualize a positive outcome. And I'll be quiet now so you can take some time to do that. And then we take a moment now to just realize we are the Christ. We are connected to the Christ mind. And we have all these incredible tools to use. Jesus, our way shower, has given us so many tools, and so many other people on the planet. So many spiritual masters. And we know that we are connected in mind, God mind, to all of that wisdom and knowledge. And we affirm that now, that when whatever we need, it comes to us. We are divinely guided. And for this, we are truly grateful. We're grateful for this beautiful day and this beautiful community. We're grateful for the opportunity to be able to come together soon as a community in person. And for all of these things, we say, thank you, God, and so it is. Amen. Today's talk is called The Courage for Discovery. This month, we will be using the theme, creating a life of magic. Big magic. Somewhat like this. There was once a magician on a cruise ship who performed mainly sleight hand tricks. He had a regular spot on the ship's cabaret evening entertainment. He was actually quite a good magician, but he had one big problem. His routines were regularly ruined by the onboard parrot who would fly around squawking and giving away his secrets, saying things like, "It's up his sleeve! It's up his sleeve!" Or "It's in his pocket! It's in his pocket! It's in his pocket!" "It's in his mouth! It's in his mouth!" No, you have to turn off now.
No, you have to turn off now. You have to turn off now.
The magician was getting pretty sick of this and threatened to do physical harm to the parrot if it ruined his act one more time. Then, one evening, right as the magician was about to disappear in a puff of smoke for his grand finale, the ship hit an iceberg and sank in seconds. Amazingly, the magician and the parrot were the only two survivors. The magician was lying on a piece of driftwood in a daze. As he opened his eyes, he could see the parrot staring at him out of his beady little eye. The parrot sat there for what seemed like an eternity, just staring at him. The wheels of his little brain turning and turning. Eventually he said, "Okay, you got me this time. What did you do with the ship?" Okay, not that kind of big magic, but big magic nonetheless. As we use the brilliance in Elizabeth Gilbert's one of her recent press books, Big Magic, Creative Living Beyond Fear. To explore the attitudes, approaches, and habits needed to uncover our hidden treasures, face our fears, and trust the universe. All of which leads us to our most creative, magical lives, the lives God intended for us to live. Early on in Big Magic, Gilbert poses a very important question, and it is a question we will explore this morning. From Big Magic, page 8, she writes, "So this, I believe, is the central question upon which all creative living hinges. Do you have the courage to bring forth the treasures that are hidden within you? Look, I don't know what's hidden within you. I have no way of knowing such a thing. You yourself may barely know, although I suspect you've caught glimpses. I don't know your capacities, your aspirations, your longings, your secret talents. But surely something wonderful is sheltered inside of you. I say this with all confidence because I happen to believe we are all walking repositories of buried treasure. I believe this is one of the oldest and most generous tricks the universe plays on human beings, both for its own amusement and for ours. The universe buries strange jewels deep within us all, and then stands back to see if we can find them. That sentiment is consistent with the ancient Hindu story of the Creator and the angels discussing where to hide man's divinity. One angel said, "Put it at the bottom of the ocean. They will never find it there." God said, "No, humans are very smart. Someday they will find their way to the bottom." Another angel said, "Then put it in the center of the earth." God said, "I suspect one day man will find their way there too." We need a more obscure spot. Another angel suggested the top of the highest mountain, but God felt sure man would find it there as well. Finally, an angel said, "I've got it. Let's put it in a place they won't think to look, right inside them." The treasure we are to unbury is the unique way in which our divinity is expressed. Back to Elizabeth Gilbert's passage, the universe buries strange jewels deep within us all, and then stands back to see if we can find them. The hunt to uncover those jewels, the courage to go on that hunt in the first place, that's creative living. That's what separates a mundane existence from a more enchanted one. The often surprising results of that hunt, that's what I call big magic. Now let's be clear about something right up front this month, because I don't want 3/4 of you to tune me out thinking that I'm not talking about you. When we say creative living, we are not talking exclusively about pursuing life as a poet or an artist or a musician, although that could be the treasure hidden inside of you, and that's wonderful. Rather, creative living in the context of our conversations this month is about living, number one, a life that is driven more strongly by curiosity than by fear. And two, a life in which you bring forth from you that which brings you joy and fulfillment, which in turn blesses the world. Because there is no such thing as private good. So let me say that again. Creative living in the context of our conversations this month isn't about artistic endeavors. Rather, it is about, number one, a life that is driven more strongly by curiosity than fear. And number two, a life in which you bring forth from you that which brings you joy and fulfillment, which in turn will bless the world. So even if you aren't an artist or a singer or a writer or an actor, this month is for you. Got it? So beginning at page 9, Gilbert gives the example of her friend Susan, who took up figure skating when she was 40. Well, actually, she already knew how to figure skate. She had figure skated competitively as a child and loved it. But she quit the sport when it became clear she didn't have quite the chops to be a champion. For the next quarter of a century, she didn't skate. Her thinking, why bother if I can't be the best? And then she turned 40. Those milestone birthdays can mess with our heads, can't they? She was listless, unsettled, out of sorts. She did a little soul searching, and she asked herself, when was the last time I felt truly light, joyous, and even creative? To her amazement, she realized that the last time she remembered experiencing those feelings was when she was figure skating. And even though she was saddened that she hadn't felt that way in a long time, she was curious to know if skating would still give her those feelings. Again, what is the definition of creative living in our context this month? Number 1, living a life that is driven more strongly by curiosity than by fear. And number 2, living a life in which you bring forth from you that which brings you joy and fulfillment, which in turn blesses the world. So she followed her curiosity to see if that which at one time brought her joy and fulfillment would do that again. She bought a pair of skates, found a rink, and hired a coach. She ignored the voice within her that told her she was being self-indulgent and preposterous to do such a crazy thing. After all, the voice said, "You are 40 years old, you know." She acknowledged and then ignored the extreme self-consciousness at being the only middle-aged woman on the ice with all those tiny, feathery 9-year-old girls. She just did it. 3 mornings a week, she got up before dawn, before her demanding job began, and she skated. She skated just for the sake of the joy and freedom and fulfillment she felt when she skated. She skated just because it made her feel alive. About her friend's experience, Gilbert writes on page 11, "It was a revolution, a literal revolution as she spun to life again on the ice. Revolution upon revolution upon revolution." Please note that my friend did not quit her job, did not sell her home, did not sever all her relationships and move to Toronto to study 70 hours a week with an exacting Olympic level skating coach. And no, this story does not end with her winning any championship medals. In fact, this story doesn't end at all, because Susan is still figure skating several mornings a week. And simply because skating is still the best way for her to unfold a certain beauty and transcendence within her life that she cannot seem to access in any other manner. And she would like to spend as much time as possible in such a state of transcendence while she is still here on the earth. That's all. That's what I call creative living. Isn't that a beautiful story? So the question of this morning is, what treasure is buried inside of you? There is one thing you should know about uncovering it and going for it. It can be scary. In fact, it can be very scary. Because living creatively means living into the unknown. And moving into the unknown is scary. Here are some of the many ways in which we might be afraid to uncover our buried treasure. Let's see if any of these ring true for you. You're afraid that you won't be any good at doing whatever is nudging at you. You're afraid you'll be rejected or criticized or ridiculed or misunderstood, or worst of all, ignored. You're afraid there's no market for whatever you are offering, and therefore no point in pursuing it. You're afraid somebody else already did it better. You're afraid everybody else already did it better. You're afraid somebody will steal your ideas, so it's safer to keep them hidden forever in the dark. You're afraid you won't be taken seriously. You're afraid your dreams are embarrassing. You're afraid that someday you'll look back on your endeavors as having been a giant waste of time, effort, and money. You're afraid you don't have the right kind of discipline. You're afraid you don't have the right kind of work ethic. You're afraid you're too fat. About this one, Gilbert writes, I don't know what this has to do with creativity exactly, but experience has taught me that the most of us are afraid we're too fat. So let's just put that on the anxiety list for good measure. You're afraid you will fail. You're afraid of what your peers and coworkers will say if you express your personal truth aloud. You're afraid of upsetting your family with what you may reveal. You're afraid your best work is behind you. You're afraid you never had any best work to begin with. You're afraid you've neglected the treasure buried in you for so long that now you can never find it. You're afraid you're too old to start. You're afraid you're too young to start. You're afraid because something went well in your life once. Obviously, nothing can ever go well again. You're afraid because nothing ever has gone well in your life, so why bother trying? You're afraid of being a one-hit wonder. You're afraid of being a no-hit wonder. Because we don't have all day here, I'm going to quit listing fears, thank God. It is a bottomless pit anyways. We can just summarize it by saying that living creatively, finding your buried treasure, can be scary, scary, scary. But here's a really important thought. Our fear is really boring. It never changes, never delights, never offers a surprise twist or an unexpected ending. Fear is a song with only one note. Only one word, actually. Repeated at full volume on an endless loop. Stop! We are all equipped with the same basic fear package. There's nothing interesting or compelling or original about it. On the other hand, we each have creativity within us that is original. We each have a personality that is original. We each have dreams and perspectives and aspirations within us that are original. But our fears are not original in the least. Gilbert asks, do we really want to build our lives around the most boring instinct we have? This doesn't mean your fear will go away. Bravery means doing something scary. The truth is, we need our fear. Nature set it up that way so that we could react appropriately to being attacked by a saber-toothed tiger. We need fear in order to protect us from actual danger. But we do not need fear in the realm of creative living. Fear brings failure. It's just that simple. Charles Fillmore writes in Atom's Smashing Power of the Mind on page 157, "Fear weakens the viral life and the feet stumble." Just because you don't need fear doesn't mean it won't show up. Especially when you're trying something new. Your fear will always be triggered by your new endeavors, whatever they may look like. Gilbert suggests that because fear will be your companion on this road trip of creating big magic in your life, you need to build space for it. She writes on page 26, "It isn't always easy or comfortable being on this road trip with fear. But it is always worth it. Because if you can't learn to travel comfortably alongside your fear, then you'll never be able to go anywhere interesting or do anything interesting. And that would be a pity, because your life is short and rare, and amazing and miraculous. And you want to do really interesting things and make really interesting things while you're still here. And you have treasures hidden within you. Extraordinary treasures. And bringing those treasures to light takes work and faith and focus and courage and devotion. And the clock is ticking and the world is spinning, and we simply do not have time anymore to think so small. So what do we do when we are faced with fear? Faced with the fear of even trying to discover our buried treasure. Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes offers us a great suggestion, and so does Gilbert. Holmes says in Creative Mind and Success, "Let us fill ourselves with such courage and power of strength that all thought of weakness, I'll add, and fear, flees before us. If any thought of weakness or fear should come, ask this question: is life weak and fearful? If life is not weak or fearful, and if God is not discouraged, then you are not, never were, and never will be. I should like to see the sickly, discouraged thought that could withstand this attitude of mind. No, life is strong. And you are strong with the strength of the infinite. Forget all else as you revel in this strength. You are strong and can say, I am. You have been laboring under an illusion. Now you are disillusioned. Now you know. And knowing is using the law in a constructive way. I and my Father are one. This is strength for the weak and fearful. and life for all who believe. In other words, remember who you are. Gilbert offers us some wisdom in the form of a conversation she has with fear every time she begins something new. It goes like this, and we will close with it. Dearest fear, creativity and I are about to go on a road trip together. I understand you'll be joining us, because you always do. I acknowledge that you believe you have an important job to do in my life, and that you take your job seriously. Apparently, your job is to induce complete panic whenever I'm about to do anything interesting. And, may I say, you are superb at your job. So by all means, keep doing your job if you feel you must. But I will also be doing my job on this road trip, which is to bring faith and focus and courage and devotion to all my work. And creativity will be doing its job, which is to remain stimulating and inspiring. There's plenty of room in this vehicle for all of us, so make yourself at home. But understand this. Creativity and I are the only ones who will be making any decisions along the way. I recognize and respect that you are part of this family. And so I will never exclude you from our activities. But still, your suggestions will never be followed. You're allowed to have a seat, and you're allowed to have a voice, but you are not allowed to have a vote. You are not allowed to touch the road maps. You're not allowed to suggest detours. You're not allowed to fiddle with the temperature. Dude, you're not even allowed to touch the radio. But above all else, my dear old friend, you are absolutely forbidden to drive. Remember, you have treasures hidden within you. Extraordinary treasures. Bringing those treasures to light is what you came here to do. And the clock is ticking, and the world is spinning, and you simply do not have time anymore to think small. It is what God in you, as you, is you, wants for you. I affirm that knowing that, believing that, you have the courage not only to discover, but to express your buried treasure.
Am as bold as a raging river. My heart is open as wide as the sea. There isn't anything I cannot say. There isn't anywhere I cannot be. I go within to hear the beauty of my fears. Then I step in, step up, and step out. I put it in gear. I wasn't always open to the possibility of daring to be bold and face adversity. of hiding out. Spirit is there to wash away my doubt. My doubt. I am as bold as a raging river. My heart is open as wide as the sea. There isn't anything I cannot say. There isn't any way I cannot be. I go within to hear the beauty of my fears. Then I step in, step up, and step out. I put it in gear. I step in, step up, and step out. I put it in gear. I step in, step up, and step out. I put it in gear.
It is now time for our tithing and offering acknowledgement. So I ask you to take your tithes and your offerings in your hands, in your minds, in your heart, by putting God first, acknowledging where we receive our spiritual blessings. And we acknowledge money is our energy. And so we are giving to God first in thanksgiving for all the blessings that we have. And as you give, you shall receive. So we take our gifts in our hands and we say together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. We bless the givers and the receivers of these gifts. And we are truly grateful. Thank you so much. So we will now close with the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. And the presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. And wherever we are, God is, and all is well. May God bless each and every one of you. Have a fabulous week. And I look forward to seeing you all in person very soon. Blessings.